Oh, it's builds like these, man. It's builds like these when I go to test a Titan build and I ask myself why I'm even a Hunter main. Because every time I go to test a Titan build, I have some of the most fun that I ever have when I play this freaking game. Right? This build, have you ever just wanted, just envision this for a minute. Have you ever just wanted to walk over, hit something really hard, and then because you hit that thing really hard, all your weapons hit things really hard, and then because all your weapons hit things really hard, everything dies super fast, and then you get a bunch of healing and stuff from it, and then because you get a bunch of healing and stuff from it, you can't die, and then even if you do get hit, everything that just hit you spontaneously combusts in arc explosions. You know, it's insane. It kind of looks just a little bit like this.
Oh, we'll try this new build. In
Oh,
the
damn.
coil. Hey, Titan. What's up, buddy? Guys, my vacuum cleaner broke today.
No.
Sad day. So now I gotta spend a ridiculous amount of money on a cleaning implement.
How did it break?
It's 12 years old, so it just died.
Oh my god, did you see that?
I was vacuuming,
That was
vacuuming the couch. Not like a crazy person that has
Then you weren't.
an extended.
Yeah, so other than the vacuum talk, what you saw was infinite healing, infinite damage resistance from Woven Mail, infinite weapon boosts because you're getting armor charges for basically free. You don't really have to work for them. So you get a bunch of extra weapon damage. We have our abilities up pretty often with the way that we have this subclass set up. And we just blow everything up around us when something has the audacity to punch us. This is my don't punch the spiky titan build, right? It's using the ACDC feedback fence. What we're doing is we're punching stuff to get armor charges, and we're using damage surges in order to get our weapons that we have equipped. None of the weapons that I'm running are required. These are just the ones that I usually run for most of my Strand Titan loadouts, because I use a lot of Synthos and Worm Gods and stuff like that, so I wanted to test it out with this too, and it worked really well, so I really enjoyed it. But it's not required. You can run any weapons you want, but then you can just run matching surges with it, and you get surges for free for landing melee stuff, which this entire subclass is built around. So increase in weapon damage as high as you want to go. We've got an insane damaging super that we're melting bosses with. We have really good melee damage thanks to the weapons that I'm using, but the frenzy blades themselves do really good damage. Grapple melee is insanely busted, and it hits multiple targets, so you get multiple armor charges out of it. Picking up any orbs that we do make from melees or super kills or anything like that also gives us healing and gives us woven mail. Throwing our tangles gives us woven mail. We have Banner of War that's healing us all the time. We are unkillable when the build starts moving. It's fucking ridiculous. The exotic armor piece for the build is the ACDC feedback fence. We're using that because when we have armor charges, we're going to get melee damage resistance equal to the amount of armor charges that we have. It scales up depending on how many armor charges we currently have active, which is why we're running a copy of Elemental Charge so that we can have 4 instead of 3 and raise that damage resistance when we're at full stacks. That's also going to, whenever we receive a melee hit, it's going to then utilize that damage resistance and then leave out a arc explosion that jolts enemies. And the jolt from that also has damage behind it from the shockwave, and it consumes all of our armor charges, which you would think like, oh no, we're going to use up all of our armor charges. Well, you get those armor charges by just landing melee hits, not final blows, just hits. You punch something, you get an armor charge. You punch a bunch of things at the same time, like with a grapple melee, you get like all of your armor charges in one swing, and it's kind of crazy. I'm going to go ahead and try to make this as painless as possible for us. So I'm going to go through this as fast as possible, explaining the in and outs of the subclass, the mods that we're using, why we're running the subclass and the mods the way that we are, and then going into the gameplay loop, which is brain dead simple. Anybody can pick this up, play with it, be really good with it, and have a good time. So let's go ahead. We're just going to bust into the subclass. Obviously, we're running Berserker Titan. we have one super with Berserker Titan. That is the Blade Fury super. We're going to be using that for our boss damage, or if we just need mass ad clear because it does ridiculous damage and you can just run all over the battlefield and rip things apart and it's super fun. For our aspects, we're running Into the Fray so that we can throw tangles to give ourselves Woven Mail, and we're also running Banner of War so that we can be healing, because once we get Banner of War times 4 up, we just can't die. It's insane. For our fragments, we're running Thread of Fury, we're running Thread of Generation, Thread of Warding, and Thread of Ascent. Thread of Ascent is so that way when we grapple melee in, any weapon that we have on us is currently reloaded from its reserves. So we almost never have to reload anything because we're getting our grapple back a ton with the amount of damage that we're doing thanks to Generation and some of the mods that we have in the armor. We're running Fury so that we can throw those tangles, we give ourselves Woven Mail, and anything that we damage gives us melee energy back. So we have a bunch of those melee attacks up, which is super handy, super helpful. We're running Warding, so that way it's just a backup to always have Woven Mail in case your tangles are on cooldown. Get a melee kill, make an orb, pick up orb, have Woven Mail, and you get a little bit of health back because we're running Recuperation as well. That's the subclass breakdown. Super simple, super easy. You can follow that. No problems at all. I believe in you. Going into our mods on our armor, obviously we're running ACD0 feedback fence. That's our exotic armor piece. We're running on the helmet. We're doing double hands on so that we can get a bunch of super energy from getting these melee kills. Your grapple melee and your frenzy blade melees count towards hands on. So all of those that we're using are going to give us melee energy back. And then I am running a heavy ammo finder so that I can have more tractor cannon ammo. But this isn't required. You can run something like siphons if you want to make more orbs so that you have more healing from orb pickup, or the Woven Mail from orb pickup. You just have more sources of that. That's totally fine too. I just really liked having more ammo more often for my tractor cannon. Just really helpful. We're also on our arms going to be running momentum transfer and running impact induction, so that way we can get our grenade and our melee back from doing grapple melees, because it counts as both, or we get grenade energy back when we just deal damage with our frenzy blades. So that keeps our abilities cycling pretty well. Then we're going to run a copy of heavy-handed, so that way we make orbs on melee final blows, which again applies to your grapple melee and your frenzy blade melees. Once you pick that orb up, you'll get a little bit of healing. You're already getting Banner of War going from getting a couple melee kills, and you get Woven Mail from picking up the orb. Going on to our chest piece, we've got Charged Up so that we can get more armor charges. We've got a couple damage resistance mods. Those can be whatever you want. I think for that specific activity, I was running Arc and Void because that was what was going on in the coil, but completely optional. You can change that up however you want. Charged Up is just really nice because it's going to pair into what we have on the legs, which is double damage surges of whatever type your weapons are. I ran Void because I was running Deicide and Tractor Cannon for 1-2 punch, 30% debuff shenanigans. And then I ran a copy of Recuperation. That I would say is required because that healing in a pinch can be very clutch at times. But you can run whatever weapons you want, whatever damage surges you want, and then that'll pair with Charged Up so that you have more armor charges up, meaning you get more time. Going into the mark, you would think that we would want the time dilation so that we would have our charges up for longer, our surges up for longer. But since we have Charged Up to get more surges, and we get our surges by just hitting things, just punching things, thanks to ACDC feedback, we don't have to worry about the time that we have our surges up for, because we're constantly refreshing it, so we don't need dilation. Instead, I'm running Proximity Ward, and I'm running Explosive Finisher, so that way, if we don't have our grapple up, if we get a finisher, it'll spend whatever armor charges we have and give us our grenade back, and then we just punch something again and get those armor charges back. We're basically getting that grenade back for free. It's insane. And then I got a copy of Bomber for when you do have to put your banner up. You get a little chunk of grenade energy back just for the hell of it. The gameplay loop, brainless, brain dead, mindless, the easiest thing you'll ever do in your life, because you know how it works. Punch things, deal more damage, get punched, deal more damage, punch things, deal more damage, get healing, get damage resist. Just punch things. Just go punch something. Just go find something to punch. Go find a trash mob to beat the shit out of, punch the shit out of them, and then get really strong from punching the shit out of them. Go fight the bigger things. Then you have damage resistance and all this other awesome stuff. By the way, When bosses do melee damage to you, it doesn't expend the armor charges to do the jolt damage, which means that you keep the melee damage resistance if you're up in their face and they keep doing melee stomps and stuff like that. So, for as long as you have armor charges and you'll continuously get them back as they're decaying because you're going to keep punching them, it's kind of nutty. But again, super basic, just go punch something. Go find something to punch and profit. That's the 3 steps to the miracle of this build. Step number 1, find a thing to punch. Step number 2, punch the thing that you found. Step number 3, profit. It's easy. If you guys really like this, go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to see me make another build. Specifically what you want to see. Otherwise, I'm just going to put some randomness out. And I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next one.